people as possible and they get the most out of the experience, both like socially and being able to explore the environment and being able to listen and get information from the speakers and ask questions away from like the city environment in this really wonderful low-key space with lots of nooks and crannies and delicious kai to eat and time. Connect with other people, meet people who are probably like-minded.
Kia ora, e te whānau. We're back here to have more interviews at Ōtaki Summer Camp. And Koji, and we're very excited to have another great speaker.
Absolutely.
Another great person that's behind everything here, behind the mahi. And we're really fortunate to have Mary Fisher with us today. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you for having me. Kia ora.
Cool. For those that are, listening to us, we are Ōtaki Summer Camp. It's a very cool opportunity for young people to come and learn about politics, social, environmental issues. And for me, it's my third time here. So I'm really excited to be back again. So that's really, really cool. So over to you, Kodrian.
Absolutely. I was just talking about, look how beautiful it is, this weather here today, and there's people, passions, people we met here. So Mary, how are you today? How are you feeling about this year's camp?
Kia ora. Kei te harakoa. I'm really happy, and it's we're kind of getting into the middle of camp now. So as one of the organisers, it's been really wonderful to kind of chip away at all the things we thought might need problem solving before camp, and then for everyone to be here and be really happy and just to be able to try and sort stuff so that camp can be as easy and fulfilling for people as possible and they get the most out of the experience, both like socially and being able to explore the environment and being able to listen and get information from the speakers and ask questions. Yeah.
Cool. Mary, for those that don't know about the Ōtaki Summer Camp, could you tell us the background? How did you guys come up with the idea? What's the main goal of you guys gathering everyone, once a year? Just tell us more about it.
Yeah, the goal is to get young people in a space away from like the city environment in this really wonderful low-key space with lots of nooks and crannies and delicious kai to eat and time to connect with other people, meet people who are probably like-minded and just in an environment where everyone is welcome. It is political, but there's no you don't need a qualification to be here. You don't need to have so many, campaigns in your CV or anything. Literally, we want it to be, if you would like to come, we want to make it as accessible and possible for you to attend. If you care about the environment and you want, social justice and te tiriti issues to be properly looked at and to have a positive future for Aotearoa, then we want camp to be accessible for people who would like to be here and connect with others. Yeah, so kind of aimed at 17 to 30-year-olds, although we've had quite a few younger teenagers come along of their own volition and they get buddied up with an older person. And we also have children of people who will be around camp. Some of them live on the small farm here, and some of them are pepe of campers themselves. And we do have older people as well who are helping out as ringawera, as kind of cooks or helping in the kitchen and in various other capacities. So there was a small group of people who thought about this idea for a couple of years and then made it happen in 2018. And it generally happens on Wellington anniversary weekend, so late January, so quite hot summer. Yesterday it was kind of nearly a furnace and I was really worried about people being in full sun for a pōwhiri, but then luckily there was this giant tree that I didn't know about and this long shadow provided shade over most of the lawn, and it was really wonderful to be called on to one of the local marae. So we were at Puki Karaka, which is very close to where camp is actually held. And so that really gave people, I think, a bit of a sense of the place and where they were coming to, and to be welcomed by mana whenua is incredibly special. For some people, they might not have experienced a pōwhiri before. And then we have the rest of the weekend kind of with a mixture of speakers. So we've had people from a journalism background kind of unpacking various things of how are you a journalist with and where did your background lead you to that? How did the 2023 election go, pulling that apart, and environmental issues are the kind of speakers we've currently talked to, especially about fresh water and how to build a campaign. In the evenings, there's kind of music and everything is very optional. Tonight there's going to be a barn dance where people will be given some instructions and get to interact with people in a different way compared to like talking in small groups or going tramping. There's this kind of invite to have coffee together or go for join in with a barn dance. There's a big connection to the land here in Ōtaki. So most of Sunday is dedicated to going off-site. Be a few buses going to various places, including the Ōhau Gorge, and being able to walk up the stream and down the track next to it and really experience a place that is super special and different to what a lot of people who might grow up in a city or overseas have experienced. And then there's some group time where you're kind of put in a random group of about 10 people and really get to know them and learn more about their backgrounds and what the issues that they're most interested in or have experiences of, and then talk to them about some of the speakers. So it's trying to be like not too rigid as a conference and giving lots of time for people to connect, make new friends, catch up with people they may have met last year. So it's really wonderful to be part of that. My role includes helping people with any access needs. I'm blind and have a guide dog, but there's quite a lot of other people who have various requirements to make camp easier for them. So I've been trying to make sure that those happen and people have the most positive experience possible. And with the small groups, there's a facilitator for each of those groups. So I've been kind of corralling those people, including Luis from a past camp was one of those people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really special to to be part of this camp. But I know there's a lot of mahi aroha behind the camp, and it's a lot of organization, it's a lot of volunteers behind it. What is your why, or why you volunteer your time for the camp?
I think all of us from the organising rōpū, we have a lot of support from our own families and from the Ōtaki community. Like it was mentioned earlier today, but a lot of the infrastructure is donated from the local kura or people giving their time to share their stories, like the speakers. And so for me, my background was as a Paralympic swimmer. So I grew up just north of Wellington and really loved being in the water. And then started doing some competitive swimming, and it eventuated in me racing for New Zealand. And I kept going to all these places and having interesting interactions with swimmers from all over the world. But they would always, comment on like how clean and green Aotearoa, or, they call it New Zealand, but how clean and green like my home country is and how well we treat Indigenous people and all these things that we know would come back or listen to the news or try and thoughtfully understand some of those issues. I'm like, there's nuance, and it's not how people overseas are really always perceiving Aotearoa, and that there's a lot we can improve upon. Of course, we're super lucky and do have a lot of positive things about and privilege of growing up here as someone who's Pākehā, and there's amazing environmental conditions and personalities of Kiwis, no matter all of our backgrounds. But for me, having those overseas experiences really made me think about, me as a young disabled Kiwi who has all these kinds of privilege, but also actually struggles in a lot of daily life activities. What are some things that I would enjoy doing? And when I first came to camp, it was as a discussion leader in the first iteration, and I thought, there's some things about camp which could be made easier for me, and I bet for some other people too. So I kind of initially joined to try and think about some of the ways we could make camp more accessible for people. And there's always been a sponsored ticket price where someone who is coming to camp on a regular ticket and can afford that, and that's fine and easy for them, could sponsor someone else for them to come for a much lower price. So we really don't want finances to be a barrier. And so that kind of, quote, ticket cost was always tried to be thought of and mitigated for people who that would be useful for. But me and some of the other organisers and then camp attendees giving feedback has really hopefully helped the camp become more accessible to more people.
Yep. This is just awesome, you know. This is also my second time for me. I've been here last year. Yeah, for participant, and how amazing it was to connect with people who have a different perspective than mine. And that was what good things to know and see the passion on those young people. And see the opportunity, the place to connect and share. And that's where I so really love that kind of spaces to be given to people and come there, have a corridor, share. We may agree, we may not, but at least there's a passion around there. Specifically, a lot of topics that matter to all of us.
Yeah, and to see how all the topics that people are coming with experience and or background of or curiosity about or haven't heard of before, and realizing about in this, you know, more safe, comfy environment, because everyone has agreed to the kaupapa of listening and acknowledging other people's perspectives, to see how all of those things are interlinked, and how we treat the environment and people from different backgrounds to ourselves, and giving people a space to speak is really important.
So Mary, I think we have just a few minutes maybe.
We can hear the bell.
We can hear it.
The bell means
calling us back to activities.
I'm really interested to ask you this question about how you guys choose your speakers. It depends on the current issues of the year, or what kind of topics, how you guys do that?
We all have some input, but I'm not the curator exactly of the program. I think it is highly relevant to the year we've kind of had, but it is also just who are some amazing people. We have had people from Australia before come in and speak, but who would we like, or who would young people living in Aotearoa really benefit from hearing the perspectives of? Who's got really interesting views and can present it in a way that's meaningful for the young people at camp. And I think that generally generates a good mix of people and also looking for a range of issues and stuff. But yeah, hopefully giving people a mixture of topics and then them being able to draw lines between different points of the different speakers, which I feel like I've definitely been able to so far with, we've had 3 speakers, and then like mulling it over in the local environment is very important. And the speakers often staying for the whole weekend if they can. So one of the things that I love about Ōtaki Summer Camp is it's very non-hierarchical. Like there'll be experts in quite niche, amazing fields who may come and, you know, they'll just be on the tramping trip with you or hanging out over a cup of tea.
Nice. Awesome. I think the last question about message.
I think the last question is about the message that you want to say to the audience. But I just wanted to just korero about my own experience here in camp, and especially people like myself. Like I work a lot in the social space, and I came here to camp in 2019, and that was my niche, you know, just working on the social space. But at the end of camp, Mary here, she actually holds like a bag of rubbish, and she said, this is the amount of rubbish that we produce over like 3 days. And we were like...
For 300 people.
300 plus people. And I was like, wow. You know, I was like, that is possible. And then I started my journey through the environmental work as well. Through that day that they actually did it. And that was amazing. And just going back to the final question, what is the message that you have for our audience, for the young people that could be listening to you, people that are like, could I go to the camp next year? What is it like? There's so many people there that it's like kind of like scary because you don't know anyone.
I think the message for people who have not been before but might have an inkling or just maybe think that could I be included, would that be for me, is that if you care about people and places and everyone having equity, generally camp really is for you, and you'd be very, very welcome. If you're a little bit outside the age range, please don't worry. Please just get in touch with us through www.ōtakisummercamp.com. And there's a hello@ōtakisummercamp. Gmail address. Yeah. And I think my kind of message overall, and that I always think about, is that I'm constantly learning and my perspectives are constantly kind of slightly shifting when I acquire new information. And I'm really aware that, especially in this space, and thinking about the accessibility of camp and what that means, and who are you not seeing in discussions, and who is this discussion mostly affecting? So it's kind of like being aware that I don't know what I don't know, and just to be curious and supportive of each other, because everyone needs looking after at some point.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary.
Kia
We
ora.
really appreciate this kōrero. Thank you.
Thank you for the invite to join you.